Hello student, welcome back to the science class once again. Thank you all for watching my previous videos and an additional thank you for staying home. So what we were discussing about? We were discussing about solution. Before discussing about solution, we discussed about the purity of matter. In the purity of matter, we studied about elements, we studied about compounds, and we studied about mixture. After explaining the mixture, I explained that mixture are of two types, that is homogeneous and heterogeneous. So while discussing about the homogeneous solution, homogeneous mixture, I discussed about the solution. So let us do a quick revision on this solution. What was this solution? A solution is a homogeneous mixture of two components, where one component should be a liquid. Okay? In that solution, if you can remember, I discussed about a solute and a solvent. What was the solute? The component which is present in lesser quantity is the solute, and the component which is present in more quantity is the solvent. As an example, if we make a solution of sugar, that is dissolving sugar in water, then which component will we need more? We will need water in more quantity than sugar. Sugar will be required in lesser quantity, right? So the one which is present in lesser quantity is the solute, and the one which is present in more quantity is the solvent. Okay, so I hope you all have recalled it. Now let us proceed to the properties of solution. So before discussing this property of solution, what is the essential criteria to decide anything as a solution? The essential criteria is that the particular solution, in a particular solution, the solute should dissolve thoroughly. Clear? The solute should dissolve thoroughly with the solvent. Then only you will categorize it as a solvent. And the next point to remember is that a solution should always be a clear one. Understood? A solution should always be a clear one. If I will say that the solute particles should dissolve in a solvent completely, then the example of it can be dissolving sugar with water, dissolving salt with water. Those are the examples of solution. But in case of milk, the solute particles have dissolved thoroughly with the solvent, right? But milk is not considered as a pure solution. It is not at all a solution. Understood? Why? Because it is not a clear one. Understood? So let us see the properties of solution. Then you will get a clear view of which things should we consider as a solution. So the first one is properties of solution, that is, it is a homogeneous mixture. A solution is always a homogeneous mixture. And what is the thing which is a homogeneous mixture? That is, what is the meaning of homogeneous mixture? Whenever anything dissolves thoroughly, then only it should be called as a homogeneous mixture. So solution, the first property of solution is that it should be a homogeneous mixture. Then next comes the second one. The particles of solution are smaller than 1 nanometer. The particles of a solution, they are smaller than 1 nanometer. What is the meaning of 1 nanometer? 1 nanometer equals 10 to the power minus 9 meter, or 1 by 10 to the power 9 meter is equal to 1 nanometer. Clear? So if the particles are smaller than 1 nanometer, that means the solute particles which have dissolved to form a solution will never be seen by our naked eye. You cannot see the particles of a solution through your naked eye. The particles are very, very small to be seen by our naked eye. I hope you have understood point number 2. The third one is the particles of solution do not scatter beam of light passing through it. Now, the fact is here, since the particles are very, very small and cannot be seen by our naked eye, so because of the smaller size of the particles, what happens when a beam of light is passed through a solution? Then the beam of light is not scattered by the particles. Why are they not scattered by the particle? Again I am saying that the particles of a solution are very, very small, and because of that smaller size, the ray of light which is passing through a solution does not scatter beam of light passing through it. I hope you have understood the third point also. The fourth point is the solute particles cannot be separated by the mixture from the mixture by the process of filtration. Whenever a solution is made, now if you try to separate the solute particles from the solvent by the process of filtration, then it is not possible to separate the solute particles from the solvent by the process of filtration. Have you ever separated the sugar solution? That means when you dissolve the sugar into water, after dissolving it, it is a clear solution now. Now, will you be able to separate those sugar content, those sugar from this water by the process of filtration? By simple filtration, can it be done? It can never be done. So the solute particles cannot be separated from the solvent by the process of filtration in a solution. Is it clear? What is the reason behind it? The reason behind it is that the particles of solution are very, very small. Understood? So the filtration technique is not enough to separate the solute particles from the solvent in the process of filtration. Okay? The next one is a solution is very, very stable. What is the meaning of it? I have not written the point here, but what is the fifth point? A solution is very stable. What is the meaning of that stable? Example, when you have prepared a sugar solution or you have prepared a salt solution. Now, you just keep it overnight. Tomorrow, do you think you will find the sugar or the salt back? Will you find that it will settle down in the bottom? It is not at all going to happen. Once a solution is made, it is a stable one. The particles are never going to settle down in the bottom. Is it clear, everyone? I hope you all have understood about the properties of solution. Now let us discuss about the concentration of a solution. So what is the meaning of concentration of a solution? It is the amount of solute dissolved in a particular solvent. Is it clear? What is the meaning of concentration? Once again, I am explaining. This concentration is the amount of solute dissolved in a solvent. Okay? The amount of solute will decide the concentration of a solution. Is it clear, everyone? So let us discuss about the concentration of a solution now. So now let us discuss about the concentration of a solution. So before discussing this, keep in mind one thing. Concentration will solely depend upon the amount of solute dissolved in a particular solvent. Clear, everyone? So now let us understand the meaning of the concentration of a solution with the help of examples. Let me explain this dilute and concentrated first. Then we will proceed to the saturated one. In dilute, these are the two beakers, beaker A and beaker B. Here I have added 100 ml of water. The same quantity of water, the same volume of water is added here also. Now, 100 ml of water is present in beaker A and 100 ml of water is present in beaker B. Now, to this water, I am adding 10 gram of sugar. Okay? And to this beaker, I am adding 25 gram of sugar. Now, which do you think will be sweeter in taste? Obviously, the beaker in which more quantity of sugar is dissolved will be much sweeter than the one in which lesser quantity of sugar is dissolved. Now let us understand this with the help of solute and solvent. In this part, which one is the solute and which one is the solvent? Since 100 ml of water is present in this beaker as compared to 10 gram of sugar, the quantity of water is more than that of sugar. So in this case, the one which is present in more quantity is the solvent, right? So here water is the solvent and sugar is the solute. In this case also the same case is there. Sugar is the solute and water is the solvent. Now, what is happening here? here more. Now if you just compare both the beakers, then I have added more amount of sugar in beaker B as compared to beaker A. Now since the quantity of sugar is more in beaker B as compared to beaker A, so beaker A will be a dilute one and beaker B will be a concentrated one. Okay, so the concentrated solution will be beaker B and the dilute solution will be beaker A. So I hope you have understood this. Dilute and concentrated, these are the comparative terms of two quantities. Okay, take same amount of solvent. The solvent in which more amount of solute is added will be a concentrated solution, and the one in which less amount of solute is added will be a dilute solution. Is it clear, everyone? So this concentrated and dilute depends on the amount of solute dissolved in a fixed proportion of solvent. Is it clear, everyone? Now let us come to this saturated. Okay, now to understand saturated, we have to understand one thing. Every solvent has a limit of dissolving solute into it, and that limit depends on the temperature of that particular solvent. Okay, so at a particular temperature, okay, a kind of solute will dissolve a fixed proportion of solvent. A kind of solvent will dissolve a fixed quantity of solute into it. Clear? As you increase the temperature, the amount of solute that we can dissolve in a solvent will also increase with the increase in temperature. So now let me just consider an example. For example, it is already said that in 100 ml of water, we can dissolve only 30 gram of sugar to it. I am just explaining this with the help of an example. I am just giving you an example. Let us consider that in 100 ml of water, we can add only 30 gram of sugar to it. So if we have added 30 gram of sugar to that 100 ml of water, then we will call it as a saturated solution. Why? Because you have added the maximum amount of solute to that particular solvent. Clear? So what is the definition of saturated solution? At a particular temperature, when no more solute can be dissolved in a particular solvent, then it is said to be called as a saturated solution. Is it clear, everyone? You have understood what is a saturated solution? Let me explain this again. When no more solute can be dissolved in a given solvent at a particular temperature, then it is said to be called as a saturated solution. So this saturation level is applicable to all kinds of solvents. Is it clear? Each and every solvent have a level of which it can dissolve the solute into it, and that level increases with the increase in temperature. Is it clear, everyone? I hope you have understood this dilute, concentrated and saturated. Saturated, it depends upon the amount of solvent in which the solute is being dissolved, and that solute is fixed when a maximum level of solute that is to be dissolved in a solvent is already dissolved, then it is said to be called as a saturated solution. And dilute and concentrated are the comparative terms. Okay, the first one, beaker A, is dilute than beaker B, and beaker B is more concentrated than beaker A. Why? Because of the varying amount of the solute dissolved in beaker B and beaker A. So student, I hope you have understood about dilute, concentrated and saturated solutions. In the next video, we are going to discuss about suspension and colloidal solutions. Till then, thank you.